Alain Delon, the legendary French actor, lived a life as captivating as the films he starred in. Known for his striking looks, piercing blue eyes, and magnetic charisma, his romantic escapades often made headlines, intertwining his name with some of the most famous women of his era, such as Romy Schneider, Dalida, and Mireille d'Arc. But who truly captured his heart? Now at 88, Delon finds himself at the center of a bitter dispute between his 3 children and the woman he has lived with for over a decade, Hiromi Roland. Does he regret not marrying the love of his life, Romy Schneider? What prevented him from choosing her? In this story, we will unravel the fascinating details of Alain Delon's life, told in simple words, like a fairy tale for children, filled with vivid details to make it long, engaging, and exceeding. Join us as we explore his journey, from a troubled childhood to cinematic stardom, through passionate romances, scandals, and family conflicts, all while uncovering the mysteries that still linger, like an enigma in an old castle. Alain Fabien Maurice Marcel Delon was born on November 8, 1935, in Sceaux, a quiet suburb of Paris, France. Picture a little boy with bright blue eyes, running through the cobblestone streets of a bustling city filled with grand boulevards, lively cafes, and elegant buildings. His parents, Fabien and Edith Delon, were not wealthy but lived comfortably. Fabien managed a small neighborhood cinema, where colorful movie posters promised extraordinary adventures. Edith worked as a pharmacist assistant, a stable but demanding job. Their home was warm, filled with laughter and chatter, but also tensions. When Alain was just 4, in 1939, his parents divorced, a rare and painful event at the time. This divorce left young Alain like a bird without a nest, searching for a place to belong. After the separation, Fabien and Edith remarried, giving Alain 3 half-brothers from his father and 2 from his mother. This new family structure complicated his world. At age 4, Alain was placed in a foster family, a decision that deeply wounded him. The foster father, a prison guard at Fraines in Val-de-Marne, lived near the prison, a dark and imposing place. In 1945, when Alain was just 10, he heard the chilling sound of gunshots in the prison courtyard during the execution of Pierre Laval, a controversial French politician. Imagine a child hiding behind a window, hearing those terrifying noises, his heart pounding. This moment left an indelible mark, blending fear with a strange fascination for danger and authority. When his foster parents died in a tragic accident, Alain returned to his biological family, splitting time between his father's home in Isle-Rousse, a sun-drenched coastal town in Corsica, and his mother's in Bourg-Lorraine, a quiet suburb near Paris. But he never felt truly at home, like a traveler without a destination, searching for a place, but finding only cold walls. His parents, absorbed in their new lives, paid him little attention, fueling his sense of isolation. To discipline him, his parents enrolled him in St. Nicholas d'Igny, a strict Catholic boarding school in Essonne, where he spent his teenage years alongside his close friend Gerard Salome, mischievous boy who shared his taste for adventure. But Alain was a free spirit, unable to conform to rigid rules. He talked back, joked in class, and skipped lessons to explore the countryside or dream of movie heroes. This rebellious behavior led to his expulsion from 6 different schools. Each expulsion made his parents seem more distant, as if they had given up on fixing him. At 14, another boarding school expelled him, and his family decided formal education wasn't for him. His mother, now married to Paul Boulogne, a prosperous butcher in Bourg-Lorraine, took Alain in. Paul owned a butcher shop employing 16 people, and Alain was pushed to train as a butcher. He earned a CAP, Certificat d'Aptitude Professionnelle, learning to cut meat, prepare sausages, and manage the shop. But his heart wasn't in it. Picture a boy with sparkling eyes, dreaming of adventures, stuck behind a counter weighing hams. He felt like a lion in a cage, waiting for a chance to roar. At 14, Alain got his first taste of show business, playing a delinquent in Le Rapt, a short film directed by Olivier Bourguignon, a friend of his father. Though small, the role sparked something in him. He loved standing in front of a camera, feeling eyes on him, embodying a character. Around the same time, he attempted a daring escapade. running away to Chicago with a friend whose uncle lived there. Their plan was to start a new life in America, but they were arrested in Bordeaux, far from their dream. This misadventure only fueled his desire for freedom. At 17, anticipating mandatory military service, Alain joined the French Navy. He was first assigned to the Maritime Training Center in Pontgreen, where he learned to sail and follow orders. In 1953, he moved to the Signal School in La Bourmette, but his rebellious nature caught up with him. One day, he stole a jeep for an impromptu joyride, leading to severe punishment. The Navy gave him a choice: early discharge or extending his service from 3 to 5 years. He was sent to Saigon, in French Indochina, during the final years of the Indochina War, a brutal conflict where France fought to maintain its colonial empire. In Saigon, Alain served in the Arsenal's Protection Company, a role exposing him to tension and danger. But another incident tarnished his military career. He stole another jeep, leading to his expulsion from the Navy. This episode confronted him with military discipline, but also instilled a deep respect for honor and the French flag. He developed a fascination with firearms, inspired by Gene Gabin's performance in Touche Pas Grisby, a film he saw in Indochina. The movie's tough yet elegant hero became a model for young Alain, who dreamed of playing such intense roles. Returning to France in 1956, Alain harbored resentment toward his parents for allowing his departure to Indochina, even though he had volunteered. Their approval was required due to his age. He distanced himself, determined to forge his own path. In 1961, his younger brother, Jean-François Delon, tried to reconnect, but Alain was already an independent young man, ready to face the world alone. In Paris, he settled at the modest but vibrant Hotel Regina. To survive, he took odd jobs: a porter at Les Halles, Paris's bustling market, where he carried crates of vegetables in the rain, and a waiter in a café near the Champs-Élysées, where he watched elegant passers-by while dreaming of a bigger life. In the bohemian quarters of Pigalle and Montmartre, he immersed himself in an underworld, mingling with thugs, gigolos, and colorful characters. A man named Carlos, who was homosexual, offered him protection, seeing unique potential in him. Alain was captivated by this world's code of honor, camaraderie, and strict silence. His angelic face and natural charm drew attention, and he was supported by several women, some working the streets of Pigalle. At this point, his future seemed to flirt with a life of marginality, perhaps even pimping. For children, picture Alain as a young prince wandering in a noisy kingdom, searching for his place. He sleeps in a small castle, the hotel, works hard, but his heart beats for bigger adventures, like those he saw in movies at his father's cinema. He's like a bird ready to soar, but the chains of his past hold him back. By sheer luck and his exceptional looks, Alain Delon found his calling in cinema. Without formal acting training, he was spotted by a talent scout at the 1957 Cannes Film Festival, aged just 21. Imagine a young man in a simple suit, his gaze catching the light, turning heads on the Croisette. His screen test in Rome was so impressive that he was offered a 7-year contract in the United States, a tempting offer for a Hollywood career. But Alain, trusting his instincts, declined when French director Yves Allégret offered him his first role in When the Woman Gets Involved, 1957, at age 22. This debut was a revelation. Alain hadn't studied theater, but he had a natural presence, as if born to be in front of a camera. His intense gaze, perfect features, and deep voice captivated audiences. The next year, in 1958, on the set of Christine, he met Romy Schneider, a young Austrian star famous for her role in Sissi. Their meeting was like fireworks, instant chemistry, both on and off screen. Their passionate, tumultuous relationship lasted 5 years, placing them under relentless paparazzi scrutiny. Newspapers followed their every move, capturing every glance and smile. Their love was like a dance in the rain, beautiful but sometimes stormy. In 1960, Alain Delon achieved stardom with Purple Moon, an adaptation of Patricia Highsmith's The Talented Mr. Ripley, directed by René Clement. Playing Tom Ripley, a charming yet dangerous young man, the role seemed tailor-made for him. His performance, blending seduction and menace, mesmerized audiences and critics. The following year, he shone in Luchino Visconti's Rocco and His Brothers, a poignant drama about an Italian family, which won the Special Jury Prize at the Venice Film Festival. In 1963, Visconti cast him again in The Leopard, an epic historical drama alongside Burt Lancaster and Claudia Cardinale. His aristocratic poise, natural elegance, and dramatic intensity made him an icon. Delon continued working with renowned directors. In 1963, he starred in Any Number Can Win by Henri Verneuil, a gangster film where he played a young criminal alongside his idol, Jean Gabin. In 1968, he collaborated with Jean-Pierre Melville on Le Samouraï, a masterpiece of noir cinema, portraying a lone hitman in a trench coat and hat, his icy gaze capturing the character's essence. This role solidified his image as a dark, charismatic hero, dangerous yet irresistible. For children, imagine Alain as a modern knight, wielding not a sword but a camera. He enters a kingdom of lights and projectors, becoming a beloved prince. But his heart yearns for grander adventures, and sometimes for princesses he cannot keep. Despite his dazzling career, Alain Delon's personal life was a whirlwind of passion and drama. On March 20, 1959, he got engaged to Romy Schneider, whom he met on Christine. Their couple quickly became iconic, dubbed the Magnificent Lovers, the Eternal Fiancés, or the Terrible Lovers by the press. Their relationship was intense, full of laughter and arguments, like a fire burning brightly but flickering in the wind. Paparazzi hounded them, capturing every moment, from romantic dinners to strolls in Paris. But Romy's family, especially her mother Magda, opposed their union, finding Delon too unstable. This pressure, coupled with Alain's infidelities, complicated their story. In 1964, their relationship ended abruptly. Alain left a note on their apartment mirror. "I've gone to Mexico with Natalie. I won't be back." This message shattered Romy's heart, leading her to attempt suicide by cutting her wrists, though she was saved. Despite their breakup, they remained friends, starring together in La Piscine 1969, a thriller where their chemistry was undeniable. In 2018, Delon confessed Romy was the love of his life, and in 2009, he expressed regret for not marrying her. "She was everything to me," he said, his voice trembling, like a knight mourning a lost queen. In 1961, before his breakup with Romy, Delon had an affair with Nico, a German actress, singer, and model, an iconic figure of the 1960s. In 1962, Nico gave birth to a son, Christian Aaron Bellone, nicknamed Ari Pafjan. Delon consistently denied paternity, and Ari was raised by Delon's parents. In 2001 and 2019, Ari sought legal recognition of paternity, without success. Tragically, Ari, who became a photographer, died of a heroin overdose in 2023 at age 60, leaving an unresolved chapter. In 1963, Delon met Francine Canovas, a model known professionally as Natalie Barthelemy. During this period, he also had an affair with singer and actress Marie Laforêt, both before and after his public engagement to Natalie. On August 13, 1964, he married Natalie, who was pregnant, in a quiet ceremony. Their son, Anthony Delon, was born on September 30, 1964. Natalie later revealed that Alain remained haunted by Romy, often lost in deep sadness, as if carrying an impossible love in his heart. Between 1964 and 1965, Delon had relationships with American actresses Anne Margaret and Lana Wood. In 1967, he requested a divorce, finalized on February 14, 1969. In the late 1960s, Delon reconnected with Dalida, whom he had met in 1955 when they were neighbors in a Champs-Élysées building. Their friendship turned into a brief romance, adding another hue to his colorful love life. In August 1968, on the set of La Piscine, he met Mireille Darc, a luminous French actress. Their relationship, lasting until 1982, was one of the longest and most stable in his life. But even during this time, Delon had an affair with Madeleine Bamy, a Guadeloupean dancer and actress, met on the same set. This love triangle inspired the 1969 film Les Amours de 1969, starring Delon and Darc, with a script by Dark under her real name, Mireille Agras. Bamy left Delon in 1971 to become the partner of singer Jacques Brel. In 1987, Delon met Rosalie van Bremen, a Dutch model, on the set of his music video Como Cinema. Their relationship produced 2 children, Anouchka Delon, born November 25, 1990, and Alain Delon, born March 18, 1994. Despite an apparently happy family life, their relationship ended in 2001. Delon also had brief romances with actresses like in Paralod, Catherine Blaney, ex-wife of Didier Pironi, and even Marianne Faithfull, to the dismay of her then-boyfriend, Mick Jagger. For children, picture Alain as a charming prince in a kingdom of twinkling lights. He dances with princesses, Romy, Mireille, Delida, but his heart always seems to search for something, like a hidden treasure. Each love story is a new quest, but some leave scars, like thorns on a rose. Who was Romy Schneider, the love Alain never forgot? Born in 1938 as Rosemarie Magdalena Albach in Vienna, Austria, Romy grew up in a family of actors. After her parents' divorce, her mother, Magda Schneider, a famous actress, managed her career from a young age. At 15, Romy debuted in film, and at 17, she skyrocketed to fame with Sisai, a biopic about Empress Elizabeth of Austria. The film and its sequels drew 25 million viewers worldwide, making Romy an international star. But she hated being typecast as the sweet, demure Sisai. In 1958, she moved to Paris to film Christine with Alain Delon, seeking bolder roles. Their meeting was love at first sight. On screen, they were a perfect couple. Off-screen, their love was electric but turbulent. French media followed their every move, while German media, where Romy was adored, felt betrayed by her move to France. Despite challenges, they got engaged, but Romy's family, especially her mother, opposed Delon, deeming him too unpredictable. Alain's infidelities added strain. In 1964, their breakup shattered Romy. The note he left, "I've gone to Mexico with Natalie," pushed her to the brink of despair. She attempted suicide, but was saved. Despite their split, Romy and Alain remained connected. They starred together in La Piscine 1969, where their chemistry was palpable. In the 1970s, Romy became the queen of French cinema, winning Césars for films like The Important Thing Is to Love. But her personal life was a whirlwind of tragedies. Her first husband's suicide, a tumor removal surgery that weakened her, and the death of her 14-year-old son David in 1981, impaled on a fence while climbing a wall. Less than a year later, in 1982, Romy died in her Paris apartment at 43, officially of a heart attack, though some suspect suicide via drug and alcohol overdose. Devastated, Delon arranged for David to be buried beside her and wrote a heartfelt letter in German. "You've never been so beautiful. You see, I learned some German words because of you. I love you, my love." For children, Romy is like a princess in a tower, beautiful and strong, but surrounded by storms. Alain, her prince, loves her deeply, but his adventures break their fairy tale. Even after their separation, he keeps a rose in his heart for her, a memory that never fades. Today, at 88, Alain Delon, dubbed the ultimate seducer of French cinema, is at the heart of a dramatic conflict. Known for his piercing blue eyes, virile charisma, and dangerous aura, he captivated audiences for decades. In a 2018 interview announcing his retirement, he declared unapologetically, "I was very, very, very handsome. All women were crazy about me from 18 to 50. His charm won over stars like Brigitte Bardot, Lauren Bacall, Ursula Andress, Claudia Cardinale, Jane Fonda, and Marianne Faithfull, to the chagrin of her then-boyfriend, Mick Jagger. But since a stroke in 2019, his health has weakened, and his brilliance has dimmed, his fiery gaze softened. His absence at Jane Birkin's 2023 funeral, who starred with him and Romy in La Piscine, drew attention. Delon paid a moving tribute. "You'll join your Serge Gainsbourg, Romy, and the others. One more angel. Thank you, my Jane." His latest partner, Hiromi Roland, a glamorous 60-year-old Japanese woman, is at the center of a legal battle with his 3 children. Anthony, 58, from his marriage to Natalie Delon, Anouchka, 32, and Alain Fabian, 28, from his relationship with Rosalie Van Bremen. In July 2023, Roland was forcibly expelled from La Brûlerie, Delon's picturesque 30-hectare chateau in the Loire, south of Paris. The children claim she was merely a paid caregiver who overstepped, driven by a desire to claim part of their father's fortune, estimated at £150 million. Roland insists she was Delon's partner since 2006, accusing the children of prioritizing their inheritance over acknowledging their relationship. The family has filed 2 criminal complaints against Roland for harassment, physical and psychological abuse, theft, and cruelty to Delon's Belgian shepherd, Lobois. They allege she controlled his calls and messages, blocked their visits, and mistreated Lobois by sending him to kennels. A 3rd complaint is in preparation, with accusations of neglect and identity theft, as Roland allegedly answered the phone pretending to be Delon. After a 6-hour police interrogation, Roland denies everything. Her lawyer, Yassine Bouzrou, claims she met Delon in 1989 on a film set, where she was an assistant director. Their relationship turned intimate, and they worked together on The Return of Casanova, 1992, and Frank Riva. Roland moved into La Brûlerie in 2006, living as a couple until her expulsion. Photos and a 2021 documentary, where Delon calls her his companion, support her account. Neighbors in Douchemont-Corbin confirm seeing Delon and Roland together, riding a golf cart or dining at L'Auberge du Terroir, where Delon had a favorite table by the fireplace. Roland compiled a 39-page legal dossier, accusing the children of being absent from their father's daily life and manipulating him for financial gain. She claims she hasn't contacted Delon since her expulsion and couldn't retrieve her belongings, including money and personal items. Delon's fortune, amassed through films like Purple Noon, The Leopard, and L'Eclisse, is at the heart of the conflict. He invested in a football club, restaurants, and a successful sunglasses line in Asia. In 1968, he was linked to a gangsterism scandal after the death of his friend Steven Markovitch, involving an alleged compromising video tied to a future French president's wife. Delon denied involvement. In 1971, he bought La Brûlerie, adorned with artwork by Raoul Dufy and Eugene Delacroix, recently sold for £8 million. His Swiss residency allowed him to avoid income tax. Delon hasn't filed charges against Roland, but appointed Anuchka as his executor, letting his family handle the dispute. Raised in a privileged Paris neighborhood, but scarred by his parents' divorce, Delon dropped out of school at 14 and always shunned commitment. Though he called Romy Schneider the love of his life, he betrayed her with others, including Nico, whose son Christian was never acknowledged. The resolution of this saga, worthy of Delon's film intrigues, rests with the French judicial system. But a happy ending seems unlikely. Delon, the legendary seducer, remains an icon, but his life, full of passion, betrayal, and regret, continues to captivate. Does he regret not marrying Romy? His heart, like his films, remains a mystery, shining like a star in the French cinema sky. For children, picture Alain as a prince in a kingdom of lights and cameras. He dances with princesses, but his heart beats for Romy, a queen he never crowned. Today, his children and partner feud like knights over a treasure, but Alain, weary, gazes at the sky, perhaps thinking of Romy, his lost star. His life is like an epic film, with battles, loves, and secrets that never fade. What do you think of his story? Was Romy truly the love of his life, or was his heart too vast for one person? Alain Delon leaves us with questions, but his life shines like an unforgettable tale, full of color, drama, and magic.